so on. I was one of the people in Ife, the people in charge of policy, who decided, okay, there are many of our students in Obafemi Awolowo University, many of our students who are Easterners are held up in the East. After the war, they were afraid to come back, they could not come back, they had lost everything, and we should set up a group to go and look for them. So and some American professors among us volunteered to join the group. And we went from village to village looking for our boys and our girls and telling them, come back, your university is expecting you back. That is the type, that's the type of, from that it grew that we have hurt one another, but we can get over this and move on to greatness.
A reconciliation.
Yeah, and so among us in the history department in Ife, we used to talk of Africa, Nigeria being the black man's world power of modern times.
And you are still waiting to get there.
The successor to the greatness of ancient Egypt. That's the way we used to talk.
Okay.
And it still can happen.
Okay.
I believe it can happen.
Okay.
But we must all give up our special agendas and contribute to a general, one focused idea. Namely, we have a great country in our hands, we are going to make it great.
Okay. Pastor Ladi, do you agree with the first part of what the professor said about Nigeria having potential, and if Nigeria succeeds, Africa will also make it? Do you agree with that part?
Let me put it like this. What Prof has eloquently established, I think he took it right out of my own heart.
Okay, good.
It's called the domino effect.
Okay, good. But he also went on to say that for that to happen, yes, we have to all be concerted in our resolve to make this country what it should be. Now, how doable is that in today's climate, where every little corner of Nigeria is screaming, I want out, I want out, I want out?
Well, let's look at it from, a simple perspective. Right now, I believe that we're on the threshold of what could be Nigeria's greatest hour. You see, in the midst of all these irredentist calls and the confusions, the low value to human worth and all that, there's a platform available today where men are prepared to listen and learn like never before. And let me just take the train of thought from what Prof said earlier. In Africa, the French had 20 territories in colonial days. The British had 18 territories, and I think there were 8 territories for the Spanish, the Belgians, and the Portuguese. Of all this, the British territories were still the most fortunate. Accepted, colonialism is a form of failure engineering. In failure engineering, I've said this over and over again to this country, that if you look at the background of chaos theory, how you take an environment from order to disorder, you will understand why Nigeria is how it is today. So there's nothing going on in Nigeria right now that is unexpected. Frankly speaking, statesmen in the earlier years foresaw these things, and they left us a paper trail for us to learn from. If the disintegration, the low value to human worth, the inability to, all these are products of how we were put together, like Prof said, as a colonial construct for their convenience rather than ours. What we need to look at is this. I would like to bring our attention to the fact that in 1968, Obafemi Awolowo did mention the fact that Nigeria was wholly a British construction, and that they handed over power to us wholly, and that within it he took note that there were centrifugal forces that had been put within the Nigerian construct. Nnamdi Azikiwe made comments in 1964 to the same tone, but the most important one I want to bring out is the speech that was made by Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa on the 7th of October in 1960. He made this speech at the United Nations General Assembly, And if you go and study the text of that speech, there was a portion, very prophetic portion, where he mentioned that, look, I'm a very erudite speaker. He mentioned that, look, barely a week ago, Nigeria had just attained its independence, and that at the independence ceremony, 3 major faiths had their representatives offer prayers.